Welcome back to the North Park here at the 2022 NOBULL CrossFit Games, the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin. It is day 3 of competition for the teams. A little event we're going to call Muscle Pig. Alongside Tanya Wagner, Jamie Hagia is down on the floor. 2009 women's champion. We now also have the 2017 team champion with us. Adrian Conway joins us. My name is Joel Gadet. Take a look at how we got to this point. Oslo Navy Blue is in first place after 2 days of competition. Just a 12-point lead, not over Mayhem Freedom, but a 12-point lead over CrossFit Invictus. The near 4-year streak of a white leader's jersey run for Mayhem Freedom was broken on day 1. It was broken again on day 2. How did Oslo Navy Blue do it? Well, they finished 5th on the lift. They then won the run. That's your way to stamp your foot down on the gas pedal.
They annihilated that run. 18 minutes, about 6-minute miles for consecutive pairs. Unbelievable that they all could do that run so well.
Two ladies finishing things off here for Oslo Navy Blue. The sprint to the finish line. They will wear the white leader's jersey for the start of competition here on day 3. And that all starts with team event 5. It's what we call the Muscle Pig.
It's a nice little chipper of 4 rounds of 10 synchronized muscle-ups that all 4 teammates will have to complete, and then 10 pig flips on the female pig and the male pig. Ladies will alternate their flips, as will the men. Men's pig weighs 510 pounds and the ladies 350.
And coming out of that, we got event keys, which are going to be extremely important when we think about what teams are going to do to have success in this workout. When we think about how they're going to need to navigate these rings on these long straps, it's going to be strategic sets, primarily focusing on the weakest link for that specific movement on your team. And then, of course, you got to have tempo with that pig, set up and execute time and time again as you rotate in and out through your pairs.
Talked about Oslo Navy Blue. They will be in Heat 4 here in event number 5. Here's your Heat 1 start list. A lot of teams from Norway. We're going to get 2 of them here in Heat 1. There are 4 Norwegian teams, 16 Norwegian athletes competing in this team division. That is 10% of the field, and it starts with Sarpsborg.
And Sarpsborg is another one of the teams similar to Oslo that is following the Krieger training, that Kristen Holte is there as well. And so a strong team coming out. Their first place finish, or best place finish, was in the first event where they took 12th, where they moved the big bob really well. We'll see if they can move the pig well as they did with Bob.
And CrossFit Trondheim as well, that of Trondheim in Trondelag, Norway. All right, so we are underway here for this 15-minute time-capped event. We start with the synchronized muscle-ups, and already we see something that, Tanya, I think we talked about we were going to see. Somebody was going to get to the top of the muscle-up and have to hold it, waiting for everyone else to get there because this is synchronized up top.
That is where it's synchronized, and there are some movements that as a team they're just easier to synchronize, like burpees, where you're not under fatigue while you're waiting, you're just hanging out there on the ground. But the muscle up is a completely different story. So if you know you're faster to get up there and your cadence, your tempo is quicker up there, you don't have to be the first one up there if you know where everybody's at. This takes time, and you have to practice these to know.
Adrian, we're looking at singles from a lot of these teams. Does that surprise you?
You know, when I consider the difficulty of being outside under the sun and with the long straps, then you add on the synchronicity that is needed for this particular thing. I'm not. I will say that a lot of these teams don't have the opportunity to just face each other like this in training and actually apply this unusual skill of synchronizing this style of ring muscle up.
How many affiliates have 4 sets of rings put in this kind of close proximity that you can even do it?
Well, like Adrian said too, the long straps make a big difference for fatigue, and we know that number of 10 doesn't sound like it should be much. A lot of these teams can do 10 unbroken, but the biggest thing is it's about the longer straps, the fatigue, and the compounding effects of this pig and what it's going to do for them.
Team 2150 in lane 5, the first one out to the pig flip here. These pigs weigh about what a pig weighs. On the men's side, 5'10", on the women's side, 350. Maybe coincidental, maybe not.
It's a lot of bacon.
Prefer not to think about it that way, Adrian.
I do.
Makes me sad.
Now, these pigs they're tough to flip. They make them look easy, but when you think about that weight and what they're doing time over time, it's as if you're setting up for a max flip. And that's why, Adrian, when you said about the tempo of the pig, it's really, you have to have the power and the speed once you get up there, but you need a good footing and you need to have a good setup.
That's extremely important. And as we're even watching on it, it's like you see the way these athletes have to brace themselves. We want to see that the shoulders are slightly in front of their feet here as they kind of lean forward and get as much momentum going forward as they can. Of course, there's upward momentum that needs to be created, but if they're not forcefully pulling and pushing into that pig as they get their hands underneath it, they're going to really struggle, and we'll see some athletes miss it in the transition.
This is 10 flips down the field here, and you do have to alternate back and forth, athlete to athlete. The men are going on their pig, the women are going on their pig. So obviously your ability to get back to the muscle-ups is held up by which of the pairs flips the pig the slowest. 2150 continues to be in the driver's seat here out of Nordhaven, Denmark. Qualified 5th out of the Lowlands Throwdown.
I love this combination of the pig being a strongman element, a strong portion, and then people that are smaller can say, my advantage is I don't have the advantage there. But then you go over to rings, which is the opposite. You can be lighter and flip through. So I really like the pairing of these two, that it wasn't two strongman elements together.
Yeah, I love it. It's a beautifully programmed event when you think about 4 people. No matter where you're going, on the rings or on that pig, your weakest link is going to be highlighted in some way, and we love to see that from the team competition because we know at the end of these heats, we're going to get the most well-rounded team that's going to be standing on top of this particular 100 points.
It's 2150 that makes their way back to the rings here.
2150 has the advantage with their synchronizations, or at least they did the first round. We'll see if they can make up that time again, because Train Think Tank definitely moved the pig faster.
Training Think Tank jumping up front by a couple of reps. Basically a dead heat at this juncture.
And this isn't where it matters. It's really going to be the compounding effects. Their forearms, Adrian, their forearms, their biceps, the pulling and holding onto the pig. The last thing you want to do is fatigue your arms like that going into synchronized muscle-ups. If it was by yourself, you could do your own thing. But because you have to wait the extra second at the top and have that control with the long straps, that's what makes the difference.
Now we're talking about the secret power of being a successful team. Your fittest individuals have to be some of the most empathetic and aware people on your squad, because it's not about what you can do, Tanya. It's about how much I'm struggling on the rings, perhaps, and you got to be able to see that in me.
Well, and that's where I love when we bring the super teams together and you have all these incredible individual athletes. Team Reykjavik, individually, they have fantastic abilities, but it's being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and see where they're at and adjust yourself.
Bear Complex is the official grip of the NOBULL CrossFit Games. This is a fitting time to talk about Bear Complex. Head to bearcomplex.com to shop the best grips on the planet, up to 15% off. And if you run to the Bear Complex tent, they do have some leftovers of the grips that all the athletes were given here at the Games this year as well. Got myself a pair.
Wise choice. I rarely am doing ring muscle-ups without them.
Back to 2150 here. Frederick Studa, Victor Munter are the men on the far side of your screen. Mia Furu and Astrid Tind are the 2 ladies in the foreground.
So that was a no rep. They need to wait now. And this is only round 2.
And the waiting is important, right? You would think, hey, you're in a race, hurry up, but every failed rep is another failed rep piling on top of each other, and right there, you jump up, you miss the rings, it slows you down even more.
Yeah, and even as we see Yaz right here getting set for their next rep, it's hard to make these considerations when you're not used to playing with rings outdoors.
And Gemma Rader has now got to leave her whole team hanging, and that is a very taxing one rep.
The communication there, and then not knowing the next one. This is what we expected to see, where some teams would fall apart with that communication there, and that's wasted effort.
And Yaz is a team of individuals. Gemma Rader did the work to put them together and say, hey, let's combine our forces, but they were 4 individuals who were trying to get to the Games. This is the ultimate teamwork situation.
And that's where, again, the beauty of it all is that it's going to come together and get tested here. We know the test will rely potentially on individual fitness capacity, but you're on a team for a reason. You're competing for that affiliate cup for a reason, and we want to see how well can you do as a unit.
Well, that is Training Think Tank in the gray right now, leading the pack. Mike McGoldrick and Chris Konjaski at the top of your screen. Brandy McGoldrick, Mike's wife, working at the bottom with Mia Ginelli. That's Mike, who just flipped over the pig.
Mike is an OG. Been competing against that guy since at least 2012, so he's been around for a minute.
Now you can start to see the lead. The Training Think Tank is opening up. Even on 1855, who's hot on their heels, in lane 4 near the top of the screen.
And these guys out of Training Think Tank, they've got a whole cadre and squad there, not just this team, but individuals representing them as well at the games. And they've got some great coaching and a lot of experience. So this team can't be a huge shocker to see them do well in something like this.
And they are coaches. 3 of the 4 on that roster are coaches. Mia Ginelli, as a matter of fact, was hired out of college to be a coach at Training Think Tank, and when she got there, couldn't do a strict handstand push-up, and she struggled with ring muscle-ups. She gonna do both today at the CrossFit Games.
No hiding behind that lack of experience or lack of capacity. And I'll tell you what, that also shows her ability to really put in the time and effort to develop as an athlete. To see her on a stage like this, and you walked into affiliate not having those skills, that says a lot.
But 1855 is right there with them. But Adrian, it's who you hang out with. I tell my kids that. Who your friends, it matters who you hang out with. And who you hang out with at your affiliate and how they're training, it bleeds off into you. It really is, it matters the depth and how people push you.
No, it's an amazing point that you're making. It's the community, right? And it's what drew us all into CrossFit. Usually to start is the working out kind of sucks at first, and then you're like, oh, I like these are my people. And they push me to be better. That's what's important.
You come through on the other side, and it's a bond.
Yep.
Sarpsborg in lane 8. We highlighted off the top, the Norwegian team running back out to the pig. We're on round 3 of 4 here with a 15-minute time cap. So if teams are going to get in under that time cap, they're going to have to hustle.
And I didn't notice specific splits off of that first round, but it seems a couple of these teams actually have refined their ability to synchronize these muscle-ups versus round 1. There was a lot of faltering, and some of them are a little smoother.
Well, and I think it's a smart strategy to come out and go slower with the straps, and then also let's see what that pig does to us. Let's see how fatigued we are. You don't want to go to the pig with your first set already heart rate high from holding on and working so hard on the muscle-ups. So they're kind of going all at the same pace. I feel like that from that first round, just to take a little more cautious.
Yaz was in the top 3 earlier. They have dropped out of that position at the moment. 1855, a repeat team from last year's games, right now holding the lead. Gemma Rader is on the right. That's Martha Cook right in front of you. Mike McCary, Paulo Rosil, formerly the fittest in Guatemala. The 2 men for this team from Yaz, competing out of the UAE.
Here's a note to sticking to your basics, folks. The athletes that are waiting at the top of this ring muscle up are in an isometric contraction, a ton that can be overlooked with, hey, let's just accumulate some time in a ring support and build our ability to wait for our teammates. Those athletes that didn't overlook that aspect, it's probably paying off for them right here.
How often are you guys doing ring supports in the gym every day or every week, month?
That's a really great question. I would say for me, I had some great advice early on in my career. Around the time of 2012, when we first made it to the CrossFit Games on Hackspack, we would do that as finishers often, accumulating 3 minutes to end a session. So I try to tie it in relatively as often as I can, that or some type of L support.
And early journals, 2002 from Greg Glassman, it spoke about dynamic and static gymnastic movement, being able to control your body not just through movement, but also through holds, L sits, handstand holds, those any of those kind of isometric contractions, or even just holding squats. Any of that is so much. You can't move your way through weaknesses, but if you can be solid in every part of start to finish of a movement, that shows so much more control and body awareness.
Now here comes 1855, has jumped well out in front of Training Think Tank with that 2-rep advantage. 1855 competing at the games last year. They came in 21st. 3 of their members showed up on time. Leah Dean, Lee O'Connor, and Pete Shaw. Thomas Markhauser was given a reprieve because the teams checked in on Monday. Thomas was getting married. He wanted to stay married, so he took care of that, and then came in and checked in the next day. Congratulations, by the way. Just about 3 minutes until the cap here. We're going to have a lot of teams hit that cap mark. And you've got to think about the fact that you are flipping 510 or 350 pounds 40 times. Well, 20 times individually.
Yeah, that's where teamwork makes the dream work. You get to split the work up, but there's a strict rule that you have to alternate every time. We've seen events like this. We did an event like this similarly in 2013 when the athletes were doing the burden run for teams where we had to flip the pig the length of the floor, but we didn't have to stay in a particular order. So that meant if I was a stronger athlete, I could carry more of the pig weight, and my teammate could rest perhaps for 3 to 4 consecutive flips. This makes it much harder for that weaker athlete that could be struggling when it's their time to step up.
Now, Training Think Tank's got a lot of ground to cover here, but they're doing and I know it's number of flips, not distance, but you can see how quickly they are gaining ground on 1855 in terms of the pig flip efficiency.
Yeah, and it's easy to kind of assume who will do well, right? If we look statistically at who might have the larger deadlift or the larger power clean, those are the athletes who are going to have an easier time with that pig flip.
Here comes 1855 again with 1.5 minutes remaining to work.
It's just taking them so much longer probably than expected on the rings. It's chewing up a lot of time, and so I'm surprised we're probably aren't going to get the team to finish here in this first heat.
That surprised you? That the rings were that much of a stumbling block?
I did. I really thought teams would come out and just do small sets, 3s, 2s, maybe possibly a set of 5 in the first, 5 and 5 on the first round. But yeah, I am a little surprised. It is still though the first heat. So, but yeah, singles and that route, taking this much time, it is the compounding effects and the effects of this movement for all 4 of them having to be synchronized.
Yeah, communication, and trust, because it's very easy to panic when you're the person who feels the pressure. If you're the woman or the male that's struggling with the ring muscle-ups, it's so easy to say, I can do it, guys. I'll do another one, or let's go. And
if you rush a second, second too fast, and then it's costly.
20 seconds remaining here in the first of 4 heats. The time to beat will be cap plus something. What will that something be? 1855 in the driver's seat, Training Think Tank just on the heels here. Final 5 seconds of heat number 1. See if you can get another one in the bank. And that will be a no rep for 1855. But it is 1855 that leads the way through heat 1 and establishes that early time to beat. Good effort though for Training Think Tank as well. Back for their 2nd consecutive season at the games.
So for this event, it was 2150 with their smooth muscle-ups. They were the team to show us the early lead of how to work together on the rings. But Training Think Tank, when they got to the pig, they took over the lead there, left 2150 behind. And then 1855 was just kind of smooth all the way through with their consistency on both the pig and the rings, and that's why they were able to get the event win in this heat.
All told, 40 synchronized ring muscle-ups. The ultimate workload here. And then the 40 pig flips added on top of that. It is a lot of work, and the synchronized muscle-ups, I think, Adrian, you talked about the length of those straps. Maybe the length right off the top made that a more complicated movement than we expected.
It certainly does. It catches a lot of athletes off guard, especially if they haven't an opportunity to practice with those particular long straps.
Take a look at the full results from that first heat. And cap plus 16 is where we're going to be.
Still had a significant amount of work to get done.
On to Heat 2 here at the North Park on the third day of competition for the teams at the 2022 NOBULL CrossFit Games. The Alliant Energy Center, the site here in Madison, Wisconsin. Crowd starting to flow back in after they spent this morning at the Capitol. Tip of the cap, by the way, to Adrian Bosman for the programming on the individual side, both from the actual programming itself and the location. It's been a great start of day 3. Jeremy Austin shuffling into the booth. Adrian Conway, 2017 team champion, last team to knock off Mayhem Freedom. Jamie Hagia is our reporter down on the field. My name is Joel Godet. Standings at this juncture. Said last team to knock off Mayhem Freedom. Adrian, you were on it. Oh, look at that. 2 teams right now ahead of Rich Froning and company. We'll talk about how they can finish the job with Adrian as we go through the course of the day here. But Oslo Navy Blue is your leader right now. 12 points the advantage over the Sea of Green from San Diego. CrossFit Invictus. Muscle Pig is the test at hand. Event number 5, we're going to flip stuff, and we're going to flip ourselves onto rings.
Tough old event 5 to kick things off. Some struggles in the first heat, but 4 rounds for time. 10 synchronized muscle-ups with the 4 team members. 10 pig flips per pair, alternating for the male and female pairs. 510 pounds for that pig and 350 for the females as well. 232 kilos for the men and 160 kilo for our conversion.
Talk about the straps on the ring muscle-ups here, but this is also the first time, Adrian, we've ever seen the teams use the pig, so it's a new implement for them.
It's new, and there are specific keys that they need to focus on to have success in this event. And one is that they need to be strategic with their sets on those long strapped ring muscle-ups. And second, they've got to have a steady tempo on the pig. They should not rush when they know their backup teammate might not be quite ready. Just be steady.
Talked about Oslo Navy Blue being in the lead right now, the team that is trying to knock off CrossFit Mayhem Freedom to stop the mayhem. Well, they have their training partners here in heat number 2. Oslo Purple Red will be in lane 1 as we get set. Greater Heights Ascend, keep an eye on them. Did really well in the strength event yesterday. Open Box Athletics, CrossFit OBA had a ton of hype coming into the games. Mayhem Justice, one of the 3 teams out of the Cookeville affiliate competing here in Madison this year. And there is Oslo Purple Red, trying to be the nice second piece to that Oslo puzzle here in Madison.
They did well in the run yesterday and really set the time to beat in that first heat, and Navy Blue saw that as a red flag and went straight to it. And Greater Heights, 5th in the strong event. And that was exceptional lifting from all team members. Jordan Cook, massive squat. So we utilised that to best efforts for the team, Greater Heights.
They already start off with a little bit of a slip, though. And it's those little things that matter. Like, is it a huge deal? No. But we've already seen no team finish. So seconds could become really important after just 1 heat.
Yeah, and those slip-ups early, what they can do is create second guessing as the workout develops. One of the most important things on a team is to have everyone composed and calm. So as you begin something such as a high-skill movement like this, you're on the same page. You make the first few reps count.
Seeing something we didn't see too much of in heat number 1 is that consecutive muscle-up movements, but great synchronization. Absolute key to this, and we saw some communication really falter some teams in that first heat. Greater Heights, not just shifting heavy weight externally, but body weight, keeping them in front.
And it is Greater Heights Ascend that makes their way out to the pig first.
Being led by Emily Tanner out there getting first to the pig. I can remember when she was pursuing the individual side of this sport, her and Jordan Cook both. A great history as a regional, back in the day, regional athlete. And Emily's returning from becoming a mother.
Her daughter's birthday was on the first day of the games. Happy first birthday, Delilah. August 3rd. Emily was actually the last piece of that team really to fall back together. Just had a child. Didn't really know if she would be able to get back to competing. And it was around January when things started to click for her. And she was all in on the team. That's Tanner right now, who's approaching the pig. 350 pounds on the left side of screen, 5'10" for the men. As we said in Heat 1, that is about the weight of an adult grown male and female pig. Probably a little bit easier to move.
Absolutely. Getting underneath. Now, we worked the event strong yesterday, and a lot of the team members went for a split jerk. This positioning we need to get for the pig, once we get the weight lifted or deadlifted off the floor, we want to get that positioning almost like a split jerk, exactly what we wanted to see. And that triple extension of ankle, knee, hip. We want that explosive movement. We want that shrug, getting up, getting as tall as you can so you can get underneath the pig, just like a power clean. So you talk about progression, you can start with a light barbell and move towards something like a pig. If you don't have a pig, you can go back and find an empty truck tire that's lying on the side of the road and practice on that first. But the slow progression from the barbell to this implement has been exceptional, the way the teams have progressed in competition at the CrossFit Games over many years.
Lift with your legs, not your back.
Oh, true.
Absolutely. We want that back nice and static. The hips are going to be dynamic, and they're going to get after it. The thing that I like to cue with the pig is slow to, fast through.
Like that.
Patience in the setup, and then you got to be fast through the middle to get in that split position.
Just don't want to be struggling too much with your arms and lifting with those arms, because you're about to go to an implement where you're going to have to need that stability at the top of the rings. We've seen in heat number 1, a lot of teams did struggle with that time under tension on top of the rings.
That's Kelly Baker on the left. You've got Kelsey Keel on the right, CrossFit OBA. Those two are actually former teammates at the Games. They both competed on CrossFit Parallax's team back in 2016. OBA is in second place right now on the right. Greater Heights is in your lead on the left.
And we've talked a lot about the long straps. To be real specific, folks, if you're watching this at home and you train on a traditional rig where those straps are a little shorter, when you execute the beginning kip of your swing, the leverage your body creates underneath the rings to pull you over top of them and then to lock out the dip is much more responsive to your body weight. Here, because the straps are longer, they've got to stabilize more at the top.
Bear Complex is the official grip of the NOBULL CrossFit Games. Make sure you head online, bearcomplex.com, to shop for the best grips on the planet, up to 15% off. Bear Complex, get better.
18-foot high, the Zeus rig 20 feet. The rings are actually onto that lower section at 18 feet. And I don't think there's not too many affiliates out there with that much height in your affiliate. Some are low, so it's
a lot of cubic feet.
Absolutely, upwards. And a lot of affiliates have the rings set up on their pull-up bars or something similar, so it's a lot easier to get on top of the rings. With these straps so long, a lot more difficulty. We do see that in Olympic competition.
Jordan Cook just flipped the pig. This is Duncan Milady now going to work for Greater Heights. He is excited for the future of this competition. It's already been announced there will be swimming. Duncan Milady is a swimmer at the highest level. He's just trying to get through this one and then bring it on.
Just trying to make it through so he can shine.
NCAA champion at Texas A&M, Gig'em. 5 minutes into this 15-minute time-capped event. Still looking for a team to finish. Cap plus 16 is what 18:55 threw down as the marker to beat in the first heat. And you got to keep that pig within the lane lines.
You talk about accuracy as one of the 10 general physical skills of CrossFit, and nailing the positioning as his 510 pounds or 350 pounds is falling towards the earth, and be able to control the positioning of that. Make it easier for your teammates as well for their next setup. If they've got to go and move that, you're just cutting into precious seconds that they can't really afford to waste.
Yeah, you're truly talking about now the difference between high-level success in an event like this and what everyone considers the challenge, right? A lot of people see the struggle of the pig.
And watch Jordan Cook trying to get that thing back straightened out.
Yeah, you've got to correct it. So the accuracy is extremely important and often underlooked here in an event like this.
This is round 2 of 3. Ashley Wozni is now trying to do the exact same thing for OBA on the left side of your screen as Greater Heights makes their way back for round 3 on the rings.
Accuracy being one of those 10 general physical skills. Another 2, power and strength. Strength getting it off the ground, but power getting it in position enough so you're not working too hard once that pig does get to that vertical position.
There comes OBA. Nicholas Hecht leading the charge. It's interesting, Adrian, watching the time off in between muscle-ups. How these teams recover, not going too soon, making sure that when you go up, especially in this heat, you can knock out at least 3, maybe 4 reps.
Yeah, and the big thing that you got to think about is the total work volume done. Is your team going to have a chance to finish this workout? And if you do, you've got to account for the least capable of your athletes through 40 ring muscle ups and what tempo they have to or can sustain throughout an event like this.
Greater Heights breaks after 2. OBA, that's a costly no rep there. Ashley Wozni did one, Kelsey Keel did not.
Communication, you mentioned, Adrian, in teams before. You know how crucial it is to success. We've just seen Greater Heights then just have a split-second break, and the 4 team members have this mini chat just before they go back up for their next sets.
Yeah, and that's extremely important. It's going to cost you time to communicate, but communication is what allows you to have that success. Hey, checking in. How you doing? We good? Okay, 3 more seconds. Take a couple breaths. Here we go. We're going to go do another set of 3.
What time is more costly, right? Is it more costly to have the communication, or is it more costly to have wished you had the communication on the back end of it?
Right, and most often it's going to be the communication is valuable that happens before the mistake. The mistake, you're going to have to wait until you're ready, and you've likely cost 3 other members a lot of energy.
And that elevated chat after the missed rep. Increased anxiety, increased heart rate, which you don't want. You want to stay as calm as possible.
There's a lot of what I categorize as death stares going across the field when that happens. And you got to be patient.
The silent communication. But these teams working together so much in training, they should know exactly where their strengths and weaknesses are. And mastering the basics of these movements. If we go back to Fitness in 100 Words, from the old school of CrossFit, it is mastering the basics of gymnastics, and the gymnastics dip is exactly where most of the teams are failing right now.
Just had a no rep there for Greater Heights. See if OBA can't capitalize. And they will. So Open Box Athletics is going to now jump in front here, and they'll string a couple of reps together. So OBA is now done and has jumped to the front of the pack here and will race down to the pig with 5.5 minutes left.
And look at the urgency. I love that Nick Height just took it upon himself to lead the charge back to the pig to feed off of that momentum that was just created by that overturn of them capturing the lead.
It's a wildly veteran team for OBA. First time competing together, though. Joey Tortora has been to the games a couple of times on teams. Central Beast out of Columbus, Ohio. Kelsey Keel's.
Yep, a lot of talent. We think about teams recruiting and pulling people in from other locations for a year to live, to give us a chance, guys. We can go to the CrossFit Games and potentially compete for that affiliate cup, and people are doing it. And this is a great opportunity to see, can they, though, come together and be a cohesive forward? What's going to be their limitation to success?
5 minutes left to go in this event. OBA still leading, but Greater Heights right behind. You can see in the center of your screen. Joey Tortora's the bearded one, flipping on the right.
Bench strength's a real thing too.
Yeah.
Now, if we talk about yesterday's events that got postponed, we've got a max lift, we've got some cardio as well with the monostructural element, and then polar opposites with the way they're programmed. Exactly the same today. We've got a strength event, and we've also got some bodyweight, high-skill gymnastics. Muscle up on its own is tough enough. You start with progressions from pull-ups to chest to bar to bar muscle up to ring muscle up, and then we've got a sequence 4 people at the same time. So there's gymnastics progressions as you get harder. Obviously, we can drop that back. If you are joining a CrossFit affiliate, we can do something very similar to get that empathy that these athletes are feeling right now.
100%. And when you talk about even the elements here, we talked about the strategy as we watch athletes get under and flip this pig. The grip fatigue that builds as you wrap your hands around that to create the force needed to move 510 or 350 pounds is so often forgotten. And then as we watch these athletes elongate into a beautiful kip on these long strap spring muscle ups, we got to remember they're hanging from their fingers again. And the lack of confidence or the struggle that can exist due to that built up fatigue is such a real challenge.
I gotta be honest, these OBA ring muscle ups are art. Just the shape of all of those athletes, the way that they sync those up together, that was 3 beautiful reps as we show you greater heights ascend now.
When we go back to your point, Adrian, about using those hands or those smaller muscle groups, you want to use that core to extremity. So big muscle groups first, smaller muscle groups later, because your smaller muscle groups are going to fatigue a lot faster. So you want to make sure it's internal to external, if you get my meaning.
All the time, all the time. And the beauty here, what I really see is with this ring muscle up, the trunk is so dynamic because we're opening the hips and then sitting up, almost like a GHD sit-up as they transition through the rings. And then when you're flipping that pig, it's so static. They have to have such a bracing.
Costly no reps for OBA there. Nicholas Hecht missed the ring on the jump up, and everybody held. And then I just think Kelsey Kiel and Joey Tortora came down too early, and then they went for another one. So back-to-back no reps, killer, and it does open the door for greater heights on the left.
When you think about no reps, Joel, if you drop the pig halfway up, that's okay. If you miss a no rep here, it is very costly because all 4 team members have to go back up again and get that high fatiguing movement done again.
Oslo Purple Red is on the left. They're now in 3rd place. CrossFit Surrounds in the middle. Rhapsody has been in 3rd for most of the competition. They've now dropped down into 4th. They're on the right side of your screen.
And this is where communication is key. Look, we're closing in on quickly, having 90 seconds left for them to finish the work here that is demanded of them. They know the race is tight. They know it could be decided at any moment. You've got to know who you're looking to, one specific person on, to tell everybody, is it time to go or is it time to rest? Because if you're looking at all 3 other people, everyone's going to get confused. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that.
OBA still does have a 1-rep lead that is now evaporated. That's good for greater heights on the left. OBA will equal them again and hang up there for a 2nd rep. The communication is really good for open box athletics in that sequence.
And also the rings coming down the straps. They control them every single time on the way down so we don't get that wind blowing those straps, even though it is causing a few dramas now. The last thing you want to be doing is trying to battle moving objects, then sequence the bottom of the movement to get that kip right, but they are on song once they get it right.
They do call them the still rings in Olympic gymnastics, so try to mimic that the best we can, even though we're going to have those things swinging. We've got 40 seconds left here.
Well, gymnasts use this to get onto their apparatus to do their events. It's not actually a movement, it's something to start the movement. We use it as a great test, though.
30 seconds left to go. OBA back to the pig. Now, can they do enough work here to catch 18:55 and make themselves the overall leader through 2 heats?
Every one of these reps is huge.
And just look at the way that, and struggle there for Ashley Wozni, but how quickly she followed Kelsey Kiel. Now watch Kiel come in right behind her. Good teamwork trying to flip. That is a good rep for Kelsey Kiel, and it just eats up Joey Tortora, so he can't get another flip. But Open Box Athletics throws down the hammer here in heat number 2, trying to get themselves back in the mix of things. It was Greater Heights that led the majority of the way. They'll finish 2nd. It is Rhapsody in 3rd for the heat.
An event like this sometimes just leaves you in more frustration than it does fatigue.
OBA doing very well, but it was all about Greater Heights getting those muscle ups done very early. Their sequencing was very good and some great control. Some great positioning as well on the underneath that pig to ensure they're not fatiguing too much, and big explosion of that body and those hips. OBA, few falters on the muscle ups, but the back end, they nailed it to take back that lead.
They will wind up at cap +7, so they will actually have the lead here, besting 1855's first heat performance. Rhapsody does so as well. It was cap +16, so those top 4 scores are the top 4 scores heading into heat number 3. Adrian, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me. I had a great time with you guys.
2017 teams champion. Hopefully it'll rub off on us a little bit here, Jeremy.
God, I hope so. Yeah. I need some more. I need some inspiration here.
Adrian Conway joining us as we continue with the 2022 NOBULL CrossFit Games team competition here at the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin. Time for heat number 3 of event number 5 on the teams side of things. Some teams looking to make a move into the final heat. Try to put themselves in the best position possible. Heading into event 6 this afternoon. This is event 5 for the teams under a bright blue, cloudless sky in Madison, Wisconsin. Jamie Hagia has competed on a team at the CrossFit Games. She's our reporter down on the floor. Jeremy Austin, Tanya Wagner's won the CrossFit Games. My name is Joel Godet. Let's talk about what's in store for the Muscle Pig and these teams. Oslo Navy Blue right now is in front. 15-point lead over Mayhem Freedom, the defending champions. Let's not forget about CrossFit Invictus, the only affiliate to have had a team at every Games. There has been a team competition. And then Mayhem Independence. Could we get 2 teams from the same affiliate on the podium? Those teams will compete in Heat 4. Here's what's on deck for Heat 3.
And they have a nice little couplet here, Muscle Pig, of 4 rounds, synchronized muscle-ups. 10 synchronized muscle-ups for the whole team, and then 10 pig flips per pair. Women and men will each have their own pig, and they have to alternate those flips on the 510-pound pig for the men and 350 for the ladies. 15-minute time cap. No one has completed this event yet.
Tough old time cap, Tanya, and the key to success for this is down to the muscle-up. They're spending so much time, those strategic sets. You mentioned earlier on you thought they were going to go out with bigger sets. I did as well. I thought the teams would be coming out with sets of 10, but some of them are down to single reps, so really important to get those strategy on those sets right. And the pig doesn't seem to be stopping anyone. It's just making sure you can get the pig flips done in time to get back, recover enough to get back up on the rings.
Start list here, CrossFit Pro 1 Montreal, right in the middle of the field in lane 5. Urban Energy was a top 10 team at the Games a year ago. 2015, first year Rich Froning was on a team. CrossFit Milford finished second by 5 points. They're in lane 9. There they are.
Led by Coach Jason Layden. He had started his affiliate back in 2008. This is 6 consecutive Games that CrossFit Milford has been at, but this exact team, it's their first time here. They're coming off a first place event win in strong yesterday. They are strong. They're going to crush this pig. It'll be how they communicate on the rings.
And Pro 1 Montreal, Chloe Govan-David called herself a diesel truck, said that Maud Riopel is more the F1 to my diesel truck, but Chloe is a gymnast as well. This should be a good event for the team out of Quebec.
We expect to see good things from them on the rings.
Coming in 8th for the Bob event as well. Can they shift weight down this North Park as well as they did in event number 1?
Just like that, here they go.
Starts with the 10 synchronized ring muscle-ups, and already you can see these teams take a beat. Don't jump up too early. Make sure you're on the same page.
If you've ever done ring muscle-ups at the Games on these high frame and the long straps, everybody talks about it. It's what you talk about because it just makes it just incrementally harder or exponentially harder to do them. So the wind out there, the straps moving, these teams have already watched 2 other heats go. They've watched. The reminder now is just to, as you come down, stop yourself, slowly get the rings under control so that you can be on your own time and not wait for the rings to stop.
We've talked about the straps a couple of times. What does it feel like different when you're on straps that are that much longer than what you're used to in your regular affiliate?
Well, the longer the straps are, the harder it is to control the positioning of the rings. If you've got a bar muscle up, for instance, you can just, that's a stable object, you can move your body around that. Now you're moving your body around two separate objects that are moving. The shorter the strap, the easier it is. We try and replicate this as much as we can. We go back to the Olympic Games for the gentlemen doing their ring sequence, and their straps are very similar in height. This one 18 feet hanging off the Zeus rig.
No surprise that Camo Athletics out of Olathe, Kansas, got through the muscle-ups quite well. They're the sneaky fit little gremlins, remember, but how can they deal with the pig as a team of smaller athletes?
Struggle for the pig flips early. The foot position is really crucial, and you can't dig your feet under. You've got to get that foot placement done early. You need to extend those ankles, knees, and hips, the triple extension.
Well, both Addison and Toya here on the right side of your screen, both their timing is off and their hand placement isn't there. To be able to get underneath it, they need a little bit more patience and a little more drive, get a stronger deadlift. They need their hips to get back a little bit more and use more legs. They're really just trying to pick this up with their arms, and that's going to crush them when they go back to the muscle-ups.
People think about doing the split jerk with the barbell and they find that position really easy. Nothing really changes with the positioning of their feet. We see a lot of narrow feet, bottom of screen, with the athletes trying to get this pig up. Ensuring those position and minimizing the fatigue, really important. And the accuracy of getting this pig inside that narrow zone up and down North Park, another crucial factor.
And it's that composure on your setup. Like we said, that's one of the keys, making sure that you have your setup. You don't rush to a barbell and just pick it up for a max lift. You get your foot setting, you get everything in place, locked down, get your tension through your full body so that that first initial drive and that push to get yourself moving is all connected.
5 rounds for time here, 10 pig flips down the North Park field with the 10 synchronized muscle-ups. Brought to us by Bear Complex, the official grip of the NOBULL CrossFit Games. Head to bearcomplex.com, shop the best grips on the planet, up to 15% off.
KT CrossFit here, the men have got this pig figured out, and they're just moving it so well. The ladies have to straighten some things out, so a little bit costly there, efficiency-wise. But they sure knew how to move that pig.
KT explosion through those hips, big shrug to get underneath and just limit the amount of work you're doing with your arms because you're just about to jump up on an implement where you need your arms.
KT came in 16th overall, team out of St. Petersburg in Russia. Didn't make it to the games last year because of travel issues, so have waited for this opportunity, got into the States early this year and have been training. They are an underdogs team. They've been training with Tommy Hackenbrook, who knows a thing or two about winning here at the games.
He sure does. Led Team U back in the day, but what I liked to see out of them was their communication right there. Not everyone was ready on the rings, but they just watched and they took a beat, and it looks like the rings are just swinging.
I love the descent of the athletes, some athletes having to drop straight down, but also the other athletes who do have a little bit more control can make sure those straps and the rings are not moving around too much.
Synchronized ring muscle-ups. We see the same thing here in the latter round with less than 5 reps to go for KT CrossFit.
Ksenia Trubetskaya is the captain for this team. Alexander Plyoshkin is in the black shirt, standing on top of the riser to your right. Ivan Kakartsev is on the left. That's Ivan right there. 23 years old. He is a strength athlete. Gymnastics necessarily isn't this team's strength. You could have fooled me.
But you know, muscle-ups anymore at this level of play, it's not about the muscle-ups. It's more the synchronization that makes this muscle-up more challenging. So they've worked together. The volume of we're not back in 2008 or 9. Everybody has them. They're proficient, but the element of keeping it as synchronized movement is the challenging part.
Well, you think about if you did this individually and you had to do 5 pig flips and you had to go back and do 10 muscle ups on your own. That's not too difficult of an event for athletes of this standard, but you put those elements together and having to synchronize that positioning at the top of the rings makes it a lot more difficult. And I'm absolutely loving pig positioning for KT. Ivan will get on next at the bottom of screen, second lane from bottom, and his extension, absolutely loving what he's, oh, that pop-up, it's just so easy.
Speed through the middle, and it's so powerful. It looks slow almost, Jeremy, when people just watch it for the eye, but you know how much power he's putting behind that.
You have to remember, all of the talk that Freedom got and that Oslo Navy Blue got and that Reykjavik got for sweeping their semifinals, KT CrossFit won 5 of the 6 events at the Far East Throwdown, and the one they didn't win, they came in second by 13 seconds. They were as dominant as anybody in their semifinal qualification. 15-minute time capped event. No one has finished of yet. We are on heat 3. Second round through of 4. 6.5 minutes gone by. Good push there by Plyoshkin.
Ivan now, this extension pop straight underneath, and it's just like that power clean, so the progression of barbell to either tie flip or pig flip and getting underneath. You mentioned speed through the middle, Tanya. It's just so important to make this as easy as possible.
It translates so well to everyday life if you need to pick something up, and that's where if you move well and you're moving appropriately with the barbell and you have good technique and good form, you'll see that bleed over into other areas.
So Ivan really clued in from KT, getting that ankle, knee, hip extension into that big shrug, ensuring he can get underneath. Some of the other teams are really struggling with the pushover.
Even look at the way that Ayjan Zarazova got under that. A smaller athlete, but it's that hip pop, right? And then she's so quick, like a barbell. It's fast under the bar. Move your body around the object.
If you talk about long levers as well, Ivan's very tall. Makes it a lot easier for him to get under the weight. Although it is a 510-pound or 350-pound pig, they're not actually shifting the entire weight because it is still resting on the ground, but still a heavy implement to move. And another quick break, making sure they're communicating well. I really like that. No, I wasn't ready. Let's drop down. Let's go again. And straps just moving around a fair bit in this breeze now.
And that's it. The athletes can use one riser, but that's not always enough for these athletes.
Cannot use 2 risers for safety. They don't want them slipping off one another.
So if you can reach with a little, just a point of your finger to keep that, there we go. And then the extra hold there at the bottom to just stabilize the rings.
They don't give you the PVC pipe like they do in the affiliate to stop the ring from swinging. How about that teamwork, too, by the way? For Kartsev to come over and say, you know what, I can reach the rings. I'm going to slow him down for you.
You can help. We were there at the team briefing. You're allowed to go over and help your teammate get up on the rings if you need to. Oh. And now everyone's waiting. Oh.
And they'll come back down. That's a no rep. And sometimes that's even smarter, right? It's better to not hang out in the static hold for too long. Pro 1 on the left of screen is in first place right now. KT has fallen off of pace. CrossFit overtake. Team Density is now in second. Porti has moved into third from Finland.
KT just dropping back a little, but they just are taking that extra bit of time on these synchronized muscle ups to ensure that they do get back, because they are making up a lot of time with these pig flips.
And no surprise here, Chloe Govan-David in the gray top, a gymnast originally, got out of that because of injuries, but that is her background. And Frederick Dubé just using his size to flip that thing around like it's nothing. 510 pounds. And a breath here for Tristan Leclerc. Overtake has now passed KT off of the rings. Second team to the pig flip here at the end of round 3. We have 5 minutes left to go in this 15-minute time-capped event. Maud Riepel, who was the second female for Pro 1. Final 5 flips for Pro 1. And again, it's Leclerc and Riopel, the two rookies on that team, giving way to Govan David and Dubé, who were on the 5th place team a year ago at the Games.
I love the way she's following the pig down, making sure it's set for the next flip.
Leclerc really following that forward.
I think also stabilizing themselves there just to breathe.
I don't want it to fall back
Get a
on
breather.
me.
Don't want that refrigerator falling back on me.
And a quick pop, interesting technique. That little pop with that knee, enough hip extension to just drive the knee up to ensure that it's moving forward enough to just push and drop it down, ensuring that you're just not using your arms too much.
Well, if you know if you're familiar with the strongman movements, it is a little bit different with that barbell. You use your knee like that, you use your legs to hinge at the waist to kind of get that position. It's a strong plant position, you're stable, and you can just allows for a little support and like a regrip.
If you do get your feet in position, just like your split jerk, you can rest the implement on your front leg, and it's not going to cost you too much because you're in a solid position of support.
That's overtake. Or excuse me, that's KT trying to work their way back into the top 3 here. But we are on round 4 of the muscle-ups with Pro 1 Montreal right now in the lead. Remember, Pro 1 finished 5th at the CrossFit Games last year. And there have been a lot of talk about a lot of teams coming into this season. And the thing that Chloe Govan David told us beforehand, she said, we're Pro 1. We're somebody too. I referred to them during the semifinals kind of as the Canadian Mayhem. If you go into Pro 1's gym, Rock Patrol has signage for days that they have gotten at various competitions. You can never count out Pro 1. They might not do it in the flashiest form as other teams, but they're going to go fight.
But listen, that's just like any other CrossFit Games division. The 4th, 5th, 6th place teams, they're the ones we're not seeing and talking about all the time because they're not usually taking first in their events, but they are incredible athletes. They're incredible teams. They are, in my opinion, just the overall ones. If they can consistently be in that area, they are the best. They are absolutely deserve to be here. I'm glad they're getting the love right now to shine in this heat.
2 minutes left to go in this heat. And especially, it's been an 8-year journey for Maud Riopel on the right side in the black top. She has tried to make this team time and time again. And the biggest stumbling block for her this season when she finally made it, Chloe Govan David said, I don't need you to be Manon Lesseur, who was the 2nd female on the team last year. I need you to be Mo. Go out there and be you. You are good enough. Certainly, yeah, here she is at the CrossFit Games leading a heat with Team Pro 1.
Well, don't give up either. Have your goal, set your goal, whatever that goal may be, and keep working at it.
They have looked so good on those rings from beginning to end here.
Now can they finish? 70 seconds, no team has finished yet. Maud Riopel tightening up that weight belt. You've got time, but you do have to go.
Good pop.
Chloe just gave the thumbs up to the camera. The confidence and the ease from the veteran. 30 seconds to go. Pro 1 has to move here. Time is there, but it's fleeting. They've got company as well. Overtake. Trying to do just that. Boy, those pig flips this late into an event are just moving for CrossFit Overtake. Team Density's doing a great job. Marco Coppola just flipped that like it was nothing.
Oh!
8 seconds left to go. Marco Coppola, the driving force of Overtake, manhandling the pig.
Wow!
That's an amazing finish.
Ooh.
It'll wind up being Pro 1, but I tell you what, Overtake also came to play.
What a final charge by Overtake out of nowhere. Did everything they could through the men's pig to get every rep, and every repetition of that pig flip does count. But Pro 1, showing how to do it on the rings.
I think their patience throughout the 15 minutes got them there. They didn't rush the first part of it. They got their sequencing right.
Really good discipline. That just shows what a disciplined team they are, to know their patience, execute where they're dominant, and where they can just excel. And they really stayed that for all 4 rounds. They did it.
But just knowing each other that well.
Cap +3. Pro 1 finishes. Overtake at Cap +6 right now. Puts themselves in 2nd position because Open Box Athletics was at Cap +7 from Heat 2. Still yet, no one has finished, although at +3 being the marker, I think we're going to see some teams cross that finish line heading into Heat 4.
Well, Pro 1 already has a top 10 finish. They took an 8th in Biker Bob. It could be, but there are 10 more teams to take this one on.
KT out of the blocks very quick and maybe a little bit too fast. Vaughn, those massive pig flips, that massive extension, so much power. And a little bit of rest time for him as well. And a great battle between KT and Pro 1. And it all came down to the strategy of the muscle-up sets, as we mentioned earlier, making sure we sequence correctly, minimizing that fatigue on top of the rings. And what a great finish. Overtake coming in very late. The females for Overtake just 1 pig flip behind. But Pro 1 Montreal in sync both with muscle-ups and pig flips. And what a great finish we had.
They gave themselves enough of a cushion there from the rings to keep the lead.
These are the standings overall prior to event number 5. And these are the teams we are going to see in heat number 4. Mayhem Freedom, the odds-on favorite coming in. They are in 3rd place. Rich Froning's team had not worn the leader's jersey since 2017. They're in 3rd. Oslo Navy Blue and Invictus, top of the board. Get to what they're doing. It is the Muscle Pig. Pretty apropos.
There's craziness going on later today, but right now it's a standard couplet, ring muscle up, synchronized, and pig flips. They're going to do 10 on the rings, all 4 athletes, followed by 10 pig flips for each of the pigs. 1 pig for the men, 1 for the ladies, weighing 510 pounds, 350 pounds. You're going to have to alternate those flips. 15-minute time cap, and it's a tight one.
Key to success. It is all about those sets at the rings. The pig not proving too much of an issue, but managing fatigue as best you can within your team of 4 is going to be the key to getting the win here in heat number 4. 3 reps short in heat number 3. The tempo of the pig, you just got to go out and nail it, get back to the rings and rest as you need to.
Oslo Navy Blue, middle of the field, will be able to look left and right. We'll have Mayhem Freedom and Invictus flanking them. Mayhem Independence in 4th, looking for a podium position as well as we go down to Jamie Hagia.
I spoke with CrossFit Oslo Navy Blue this morning and asked them if they felt any pressure coming in today in that top spot. And with their happy, jovial selves, they responded, no, we're just enjoying the moment. They know they have 3 more days of competition, and Avon even joked, at least we have 2 white leader jerseys we can sell for a lot of money when we get back home.
You know, the memorabilia market is big nowadays. Gotta get those things authenticated, though. We gotta get the sticker on them and all that, right?
Oh, that's it. Yeah, put them on eBay. Something. Yeah. Put them up in your gym.
There are those white leaders jerseys. And by the way, CrossFit Oslo does have a pig. They made it themselves. It's made out of wood, but it's an implement that they may have had a chance to use in training before.
3rd day of competition, they have come in so strong, just physically, but also mentally. I love seeing their confidence this year.
And here is CrossFit Invictus, Devin Kim, Brittany Weiss in the front there, trying to reestablish as a podium affiliate as they were in 2019.
And 12 points behind Oslo, that's it. I mean, their lowest place finish at this point was 7th. Invictus has been around forever. Sent teams here, they are just another strong affiliate, and I'm so glad they're sitting in 2nd place right now.
And has the bear been poked again? We're about to find out.
Starts off with 10 synchronized ring muscle-ups. Honestly, you talk about poking the bear, Jeremy. The biggest thing for CrossFit Oslo Navy Blue right now, they cannot have a slip-up on this event. You took the leader's jersey off of Mayhem last night. You need to come back out here and stomp on a throat. You've got to assert yourself.
We've seen that before in other teams. They come in, they get a lead, and they just rest on their laurels, if I can use a massive cliche like that, and they just let Mayhem sneak back in and take over, and they just continue on right throughout the weekend. Start to Friday, there's a lot of work still to be done over the next 3 days, but they really need to assert their ascendancy right now.
Wow. I was just about to compliment how well Mayhem was doing with the synchronization. And Mayhem is the first to come off like it was absolutely nothing.
Listen, these movements for them, it is nothing. They work together. They are the best at working together. They know their timing, and really, they just need the points. They need the first place. They haven't had a first place finish yet, so they need that one. Tonight is a crapshoot with the event. We were there. There's a million questions going on, but this is the one today they know they can get.
Well, if they can, we spoke about strategic sets. If they can do that for every round, they are going to take a massive lead coming into every round of pig flips. Other teams we've noticed throughout the previous 3 heats, they've really struggled with their sets and going down to sets of 1. If Mayhem can keep doing that, this is going to be an absolute walkover.
Volume. When you think of Mayhem, you think of volume. So 10 for them. I want to know, do they ever train with just 10 muscle-ups? They've all practiced on those high straps. To them, a lot of teams don't have that depth of just practice here at this level with the high straps together like that. So I would say they would see the 10 and say, that's no big deal.
Absolutely not. Now, Rich just could probably get a little bit more explosive in his hips, and we talk about how much you're using your hips and your core and your trunk when you are getting into your muscle-up position. I have noticed when doing muscle-ups, my abs are sore for days, even though I haven't done any specific sit-up work, but that's probably my poor...
Sounds like a you problem.
Absolutely me problem.
I just want to recognize something. Sorry, Jeremy. I'm ignoring your ab comment. Here's the thing. I wanted you to recognize Mayhem is walking back to the rings. They are under complete control. It is all on them. They're watching their field. They're only competing against the other 10 right now out there.
Look how easy this
Dominant.
is. Did you notice? Are they going to go 10 unbroken here? Because the synchronicity, we've seen teams doing 1s and 2s all morning long, so they will break there. But that was either 6 or 7.
Strategic sets, and they want to do negative sets as well. What I mean by that is if you've got 10 to do, you want to go over 5. Easier for the brain to calculate, and also a smaller set to finish with. So if you can do a 6-4 or a 7-3 for your set of 10, it's going to make it a lot easier. Rich Froning on the previous set that he did, looking left and right, eyeballing everyone in the team because he's got so much time.
Now, even Oslo on the right of screen in the leaders' jerseys, they're pretty good at the synchronization. They're not Mayhem. That looked too easy for Mayhem, and they're only going to grow the lead here in round number 2.
So if you think about their first set where they absolutely nailed it, that one was probably a 6-4, 7-3, as you mentioned, Joel. As we go along, I think they might do something very similar with their next set, even a 6-4 I would do, and the last one, depending on what the time is, depends on what lead they have, they'll probably break it up the same way, or if they're under a little bit of pressure from Oslo Navy Blue, they might even nail all 10 to finish off.
Andre Nissler having to do some work there to keep the pig back in the lane here as this event is brought to us by Bear Complex, the official grip of the NOBULL CrossFit Games. Head to bearcomplex.com. Shop the best grips on the planet with up to 15% off.
So Rich's feet not getting too long. Now his split jerk we know is very good. He can get very long. His feet are very close together once he does get that pig up. Got a great shot of it here. Feet just narrow, so if he widens those feet, he could make this movement even easier for himself.
But Jeremy, I'm not worried about Rich. It's the ladies over there. They're taking a little bit more time. Andrea is having just a little more of a hard time keeping the pig straight when she gets underneath
Watch the full extension. That one was a little bit easier.
That was she was a lot tighter on that one.
As I mentioned with Rich, that foot position, trying to get those feet as wide or as long as you can. Get that stance nice and strong.
But look at where the pigs are. Like, they're going back for round 3 on the muscle-ups. No one else is relatively speaking, even started round 2 of the pig flip.
You mentioned it on the other round, Tanya. They're just walking. They're under control. They don't need to rush to get back. Then they can communicate as they're going back.
Well,
And the eyeball again.
Keep in mind, no team is finished yet.
Yes, they will.
They are halfway through, a third of
Yes.
the way through the time. They don't need to run because they are just so far ahead of the pacing line. Now, keep in mind, there are multiple teams on the rings. They're not doing the same round.
And now I'm kind of watching where Oslo Navy Blue is in relative to the rest of the field because they're not here at the top.
We said you have to stomp on a throat if you're Oslo Navy Blue. That didn't mean you had to win, but you can't open the door like an elevator door. You've got to stay in range.
But they're probably doing very well in relation to the other heats. And that's a struggle there. They're working way too hard.
So here's the thing, they're also getting very tight to each other and they have to be careful that they don't start bumping into each other and that they kind of get a little more separation from their pigs because now you need to be careful you don't smack your teammate.
And Billadel's really having to work once to get those hips underneath.
510 pounds or 350 landing on you wouldn't be pleasant at all. But you've got to realize that these guys are probably doing very well, just not in relation to Mayhem, and could come in with a very strong time.
Yeah, right. There's only so many points, right?
Only
it doesn't matter how much Mayhem beats you by if you were second.
It's only a 3-point drop.
Reykjavik right now is in second, though. Move Fast Lift Heavy is in third, and that is the thing that Oslo needs to be cognizant of. Reykjavik in 5th place overall coming in. Move Fast Lift Heavy is in 10th. This is the 3rd round of pig flips here for Mayhem Freedom.
3rd flip, Andrea looks real settled into this, as settled in as you can be with 350 pounds, but looking good, moving that pig.
The thing you have to think about with Mayhem and Rich Froning, and Taylor Williamson said this coming in, last year was the largest margin of victory in team's history at the CrossFit Games. And I said to Taylor, what did that feel like? And she said it was weird, right? You're not panicked. You never really felt like you were pressured. There was this odd calm being so far in front. But she knew it would be different this year because there was such a respect for the depth of this field. And here they are in this position having to fight.
Lauren Fisher, we saw her in the Coliseum struggling a little with those bar dips, that left shoulder strapped very heavily, and as expected, I thought the other teammates would go up early and have to wait for her to sequence. They have dropped back to 3rd.
Which is not bad. All things considered, I am surprised to see them there. I'm happy to see she was able to do that, but that would be the failing point for them, not surprising.
Final round on the muscle-ups.
Are they going to go all 10? The bear has been poked again, and again they respond.
This is Mayhem Freedom. This is what people love to see. This is why they're so dominant. We love when they come out here and execute like we know they can and like we expect.
Tony, you mentioned it before, they haven't got an event win. They're going to get one right now.
They have the most in CrossFit Games history. 29, this would be 30.
That was disappointing.
You expecting more?
Look at this. Great teamwork.
They got all sorts
Tim
of time.
Corley comes over and just straightens out the rings.
They had 4 on that first set, but no need to rush. They
have got so much time.
Pig flips
You know what? I love it though. Here's the thing. We're ahead. They could smash it. They could hold on, but why risk that? There's no need to open the door. Just stay in your lane. Confident composure. Don't need to be a hero at this point so far ahead.
The extra 2-3 minutes, if they do rush for that recovery at the end, is really not worth it.
There's nobody here.
That was a great call from Rich Froning.
It's all them. It is.
Oh, wow. They're in their own lane, literally, and I'm loving the communication and patience they're showing right now, and just Rich knowing the experience, looking around. Where's everyone else at?
He was checking the Reykjavik lane, seeing if the team directly behind them was returning.
Conway is looking super strong at the bottom of that dip as well. He's got a bucket load more.
Oslo is around
Here we
behind.
go. Rich wants wants the crowd to give him some love here.
And they will.
The bear has been poked. Rich Froning is an angry man here on day 3 of competition.
We knew someone was going to finish, but not by this much, I don't think.
I mean, and this heat is the best. We've been seeing the best teams, so for them to be so far ahead is just incredible. Nobody came to the pig anywhere near this time.
And they're dominating this final pig flip here. No team has finished yet. Not a single one through 3 heats. And with 4.5 minutes to go, CrossFit Mayhem Freedom is absolutely re-announcing their presence here. You wanted Mayhem Freedom, you got Mayhem Freedom. The bear is poked, Froning is back, and an absolute statement from the 4 from Cookeville, Tennessee. Walk to the finish line. It's yours.
Stroll right across that line, boys and girls.
Oh, what a statement. What a start to Friday.
They absolutely demolished that event. Incredible.
Mayhem, then specifically a lot of daylight.
Anytime you get the guy that programmed the games to come over and say, yeah, that was a good job.
Well, listen.
You've got to think about tests. And the test is out there, and they struggled in the Coliseum with all the teams, and 3 teams finish. Here's another one.
Like, that's what just happened.
Yes.
They turned in their test, and the teacher just looked at them and went,
Well, you just screwed up the curve there.
Well done, man. Yeah, good. Left skewed.
Reykjavik is still in 2nd place, and they have 3 minutes until anybody else comes into the equation. Honestly, kudos to Lauren Fisher. We know about the shoulder, and she has absolutely fought through here like a champion.
To not be able to hold on to the big sets like Mayhem did, that is incredible for Reykjavik to be in this position right now. But Oslo, Navy Blue, a lot of waiting.
This is a problem. Navy Blue only had a 12-point lead over Invictus overall, 15 points over Mayhem Freedom.
I'm loving the way that Lauren Fisher is catching at the bottom to protect the shoulder. We obviously know there is an issue there. The tighter those elbows are to her body, the easier it's going to be. Tola just fixing up those rings and straps. If you can see the catch now, the really fast turnover is really helping.
Here comes Reykjavik.
Rings. Look at this. This was the battle people expected in preseason.
2nd place here, only 3 points back from Mayhem. They may jump. Jumping from 17th to 5th.
And don't leave out, Independence is here in the race too, right next to the different Mayhem team they're racing.
They've actually overtaken Reykjavik by a rep. Alexis Johnson, a good push to Sasha Nieves, big-time strength athlete. Angelo DeChico and Luke Parker are bulls.
They're coming into this event in 4th place. We haven't got a chance to talk about them too much, but they are absolutely having a fantastic game so far. 3rd in Biker Bob, 14th in Strong, 8th in Fast, and then the P-Bars and Pegboard 6th. So fantastic start to Independence's games.
It's a race for critical points. This is a podium race right here. Team in 5th, team in 4th. The teams in 2nd and 3rd, rather 2nd and 1st, are nowhere to be found.
And they have to move. Meanwhile, Lauren Fisher struggling to get that pig up.
As you mentioned, every rep's going to count, so Tola and Khan need to get finished.
And it's Independence that races across in 2nd. All mayhem, all day. Here to start Friday at the games.
Freedom, Independence, 1 and 2.
Now here comes Reykjavik.
Solid finish for them.
94 points for Reykjavik coming through, minimizing the damage. They have done well. Wow. Mayhem, incredible.
Iceland and his team bouncing back from a 30th place finish in the Coliseum, and now this is disaster for Oslo Navy Blue.
Well, you mentioned it before, Joel. You need to put your foot on the throat. This is not the way to go about it on day number 3, even though it is 2nd day.
No, the team you wanted to put your foot on the throat of turned around and put their foot on yours.
Booted you into next week.
Invictus is done, so they'll remain in contention. And now here comes Oslo. They're not going to finish. And there are massive amounts of teams from earlier heats that will put themselves between Oslo Navy Blue and that finish line.
Invictus with 91 points as well, so they are going to stay up in that top 3. Seems like an eternity since they finished.
It was,
yeah. I'm blown away with how fast they were.
They moved just incredible the entire time. It is the Mayhem Freedom team everybody wanted to see, expected to see. They were able to shine. They walked away with this thing. They killed the muscle-ups every single round. This event came down to all about how your team executed the synchronized muscle-ups. They smashed the pig. No problem here for any of them. They always had a long enough lead or a far enough lead ahead that they could just walk. They kept their Hari under control. That was their recovery so that they could come back to the rings and really stay tight. They were together the entire time, all the way through. They literally walked across the finish line. They were so far ahead. Absolutely dominant. Not only this Mayhem team, but then Mayhem Independence just a bit later crosses in second place. This is what they're used to doing every day. Just like Cookville, ladies and gentlemen.
DeChico told us they wanted 2 Mayhem teams at the top of the podium, and at least in one event, they got it. Heat results, not the overall event results. Keep that in mind. The top 5 teams, though, are the top 5 teams, the only ones to finish. Move fast, lift heavy. Got in under the cap as well. Tip of the cap there. Down to Jamie with freedom.
Rich, in a couplet like that with high skill gymnastics and a heavy odd object, you guys took a commanding lead from the start and were able to hold on to that and even further that as the event went on. What was the key to that win?
CrossFit. We've been doing a lot of CrossFit, so we actually got to do some CrossFit there. It was fun.
With the muscle-ups, we haven't seen synchro all 4 since 2018. What was the communication like during the muscle-ups?
Well, I was the leak wink for most of the muscle-ups, so everyone just watched me, and then I just tried to hold on.
And Taylor, you had mentioned that last year was a little weird and not feeling panicked and pressure, but this year you knew it would be a little bit different with stiffer competition. How does it feel to be in it now?
Amazing. Let's go.
100 points for you guys to start the day, your first event win. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
At least she kept that one clean.
That's right.
Event number 5 in the books for the teams. There are your mixed results from all the heats. Again, the top 5 teams are the top 5 teams, but Oslo Navy Blue winds up in 9th. That's not good when you're chasing Mayhem Freedom, who we know, for the most part, they're going to pull off top 5s.
Well, Reykjavik moving their way up again. Invictus, important result for them. Mayhem Independence. This top 5 is going to juggle around. OBA doing well, coming in that 10th spot as well. It's going to be a battle for the next 3 days.
Big shake-up on the leaderboard. This is a turning point, definitely, and tonight will be as well.
Oh, here they are. Mayhem Freedom. Now, the lead is small, but it is a lead. In the white leader's jersey in the Coliseum by 6 points tonight over Invictus. Navy Blue actually flops with Mayhem Freedom. Independence still in 4th. Reykjavik still in 5th. That is unchanged.
And Invictus, look at them, holding tight in 2nd place. Fantastic. First 3 days of competition for them.
Oh, we still have so much more, though.
All the fitness.
We'll see at the Coliseum for the teams coming up this afternoon. For Jamie Hagia down on the floor, Tanya Wagner, Jeremy Austin, the rest of our crew. My name is Joel Gadet. Games.crossfit.com has all official results, standings, information, and more. Follow along with us in Madison. The CrossFit Games have so much more to give.
A smaller set.
Catch you back here this afternoon. Get pumped.